Well, welcome everybody to Inspired Conversations podcast show, and I am your lovely host, and I have a wonderful guest today. And I just wanted to say hello and welcome my guest, Walter Brown Jr., to the show.
Thank you, Kim.
We are going to talk about money today, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, and I'm so excited to have this gentleman on and his experience over 30 plus years. I would hope at the end of this that you would have a beautiful gym, a good walk away, a good new mindset as he shares some wonderful financial gems with us today. Walter, thank you so much again for being on the show and thank you for your time.
You're welcome, Kim.
So, we're going to be talking about today insider financial intelligence. I love that financial intelligence regarding home loans, property ownership, and wealth building, but more in particularly as it relates to women entrepreneurs. So I've asked Walter to come on and to share some nuggets. As me being a business owner, as you all know, I'm Kim Evans. I'm the owner of KME Coaching and also Two Gorgeous Integrated Health and Wellness, 27 years. And I'm a business coach to women, and I help them to take their gifts from the marketplace to the bank. And it's nothing more than when a woman can be solvent in her money, she can grow her money. And we are celebrating Women's History Month this month, right, Walter? So I know you got some good gems
Yes.
that you are going to share with us. So let's just get to it, and I'm going to save my blessing for the end. So Walter, I'm going to read a little bit about your bio. Is that okay with you? And then I'll lead you in.
Great.
All right, so here we go. Walter is an award-winning 30-year plus expert in all areas when it comes to residential home loans, and he's currently the chair emeritus of Diablo Valley College Business Administration Department. And he's also the chairperson of the National Urban Financial Services Coalition Multiple Strategies Working Committee based in Washington, D.C. He has written articles as a subject matter expert on CNBC. You written articles on CNBC, Walter?
Yes.
You gonna share that? Okay, I'm excited. East Bay Times. This man comes very well stacked. He's very well versed when it comes to finances. Walter is a native of San Francisco. He's the principal of WB Lending Solutions and Strategies, a loan brokerage, loan modification, and real estate strategy firm. Walter, welcome to the show and take it away.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. My pleasure. I'm glad to be here with you and your group.
Yes, yes. So we're going to be speaking to a lot of women today, Walter.
Good.
So,
Your group and my group.
yes. So let me I have some stats that I want to run off. Y'all know that I'm a stat person, but before I get into this, Walter, just ask you, how did you tiptoe? How did you land into money? How did you land into the world of finances? What got you there?
Well, I trained as an architect, Kim, and when I got into architecture working for PG&E, I decided that there was not enough human contact, and so I looked around and I ended up at Bank of America, 1972. And once I got into the money situation, I saw that money is an intersection, a very powerful intersection for people, community, wealth building, and political power. So financial intelligence is a big deal to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you said a mouthful there, and I know that could take some time, but we're going to try to break this down in bite-sized pieces. So what I'm hearing you say, we have financial services and of course strategy, and then we also have financial literacy, and then what we have now is financial intelligence. Give us a little bit, just a clarity on what are financial services, just for the viewers, just so they know to bring us up to speed. The various financial services.
When I refer to financial services, I refer to the sector in the world economy that is related to finance. That's banking, that is credit, that is money exchange, that's investments in terms of stock exchanges, be it the New York Stock Exchange, the London Stock Exchange, uh, Shanghai. It refers to places like Western Union that just exchange money back and forth,
Mhm.
the U.S. Treasury Department, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which is in the news this week with the Silicon Valley Bank situation. So financial services is a very powerful part of the world economy. It is recognized as a strategic initiative, much along the lines of the military, food supply. These days, wars are often not fought with armies and tanks and guns, but with money and monetization of economic policy. So that's the world of financial services that I'm talking about. Financial literacy is when individuals, from kids to grown-ups, they understand the importance of having a budget. They understand the importance of spending less than they make. They understand the importance of living below their means. They understand the importance of saving. They understand the importance of collaborating with other people who are interested in investing. Understand the importance of avoiding the consumer mindset and focusing on an investor mindset. They understand those things. I'm going to
Mhm.
have to pause for 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. And so
So,
going for, go
yeah,
ahead,
go ahead,
Kim.
Walter. No, go ahead. No,
All
good.
right. So financial literacy is understanding the ABCs of responsible financial management. Financial intelligence is being able to apply those principles to create wealth. And so
Mhm.
now we're talking about the intelligence to create a portfolio of investments that will generate more money than one can generate from their own job, create a portfolio of assets that will create security for one's generations 2, 3, 4 years down the line. That's where financial intelligence comes in.
I love that. Financial intelligence, being able to take the two and to apply them so you can then create wealth and to build a legacy. And on that note, money, people, economy, and community. So walk us in, Walter, when we, as that relates to, say, women entrepreneurs. Um, we just got out of something a couple of years ago with COVID and, this whole pandemic thing and loans that were being offered, grants that were being offered. Why did certain groups of women get more than others, or didn't have a seat at the table, or those certain things was hidden? Certain groups were, more at an advantage play than others. So there's this thing in finances that we talk about, which is risks and opportunities. And there are different risks and opportunities in different cultures, within different races. So let's just talk about that a little bit, Walter. Tell us what, in terms of differences, why is there a difference in risks and opportunities, and define what those are.
Well, the reason why there's a difference in risk, there's a number of reasons why there are differences in risk and opportunities from one cultural group to another. We're talking about women right now. This is Women's Month.
Mm-hmm.
We live in the Western world. We live in a society which, basically the Caucasian race had the advantage. And those systems still exist, although not as obvious as before, but they still exist. We have an example with City National Bank out of Los Angeles. They were just hit with a redlining fine, one of the largest in history, from the Department of Justice. Well, people thought, well, discrimination is no longer an issue. Don't talk about it anymore. It's not a problem. But City National Bank just got hit with a $9.7 million fine for redlining against Black folk. So Black and brown folk. So this matter of risk and opportunity, the system is not designed to favor people of color. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that's being dismantled. That's something that's being fought. Now, the civil rights movement, which opened the doors for women, It's my opinion that white women were the primary beneficiaries of the civil rights movement. They moved up the corporate ladder. They built wealth. They took the CEO roles in the C-suites, but they did not bring along their Black sisters.
Mm-hmm.
They did not necessarily bring along as much their Asian or Latino sisters, although they brought them along to a lesser degree.
Mm-hmm.
So now we've got this situation where Asian women have been moving along, but to a large extent, the dominant white culture has kind of used them against Black folks, right? I mean, there's this whole uh, controversy right now, as a matter of fact, with whites and Asians, and I should say Blacks and Asians, and it appears that in some cases African Americans are brutalizing Asians to some extent. But from an economic standpoint, Asians are winning. Latinos are coming up very quickly, and the African American woman still is in the rear.
Left
So
behind.
left behind.
So
So
how do we?
it's systemic.
So it's systemic. Largely do. It's interesting. I was reading some statistics. I'm just going to read them real quick. Learn. Uh, I was looking at these statistics. I thought it was really interesting. 40%, 42% of all small businesses are owned by women in the United States. And this actually was a stat that I pulled off from Zippia, the career expert online. The average of 1,821 new businesses start per day are women, 19 in 2022. 16% of startups in the United States had at least one female founder. And there has been a 114% increase in the number of female entrepreneurs. Women-owned businesses generate an average of $1.8 trillion per year. 47% of the female-owned businesses are owned by women of color. That does not necessarily mean Black women. It says 47% of female-owned businesses are owned by women of color. The number of women-owned businesses increased by 58% in 2007 to 2018. 90.3% of women hold micro businesses compared to 82.3% of men. We still know that largely men are winning, but women, we're coming too. We're picking up speed. But this is what I want to pick off of what you just said. Why are African American women still behind in business? And how can we change the trajectory of that?
Well, we have a systemic problem in terms of the advantages that Black women just aren't open to. Nobody comes to look for them, to find them, to say, we've got this opportunity, we want you to take a look at. Black women have to go out and make their opportunities. At the same time, there's a need for that Black woman to maintain a gentle, compassionate spirit of integrity.
I like that. I like that. Touch on that right there. Touch on that. That's good. That's good, Walter. Elaborate on that point right there. That's good.
Well, this world will make you dark. It will burn you out, and one cannot achieve greatness, long-term greatness and goodness in that space. Now, one can achieve long-term darkness, but that's not something that I'm interested in talking about. And looking at the economy, again, we're talking about abstracts. Let me tell a story. During the last financial crisis that we had with regard to foreclosures during COVID, a lot of folks could not make their mortgage payments, and the forbearance program was initiated by the government to give people an opportunity to keep their properties without making payments. However, if a person did not know to ask for that program, there were many companies mortgage companies that did not tell the homeowner that they had that opportunity, and they would foreclose, and that person would lose their house, not even knowing that there was an arrangement that would save their home. So African American women being not connected to the highest quality of information that white women get,
Asian women get, and to a growing degree, Latino women get. African American women were kind of in the dark on that. So there's a need for African American women not just to be bright and compassionate and have a level of integrity, but also be a lifelong student, to be a courageous explorer and looking at their industry, at the leaders in their industry, marking those people that are doing great in their industry or in their chosen endeavor, and looking at what they're doing to be great in that endeavor, and modeling and following up with those actions. Self-care is a foundation for all of this. Without self-care, it doesn't last.
I love that. I love what you said. And ladies, we do need to get out of the closet when it comes to that and to be a lot more courageous, a courageous explorer. I think you can write a book on that. Touch on a little bit more about the self-care part of the financial analysis is what you're talking about. That's good. That's a good lead in right there.
Well, the Small Business Administration, as you know, Kim, states that after 5 years, 100 companies that are started, 80 of them will have failed. Only 20 will survive. Only 20% of the businesses that start survive over 5 years. And then in the next 5 years, only 20% of the ones that start survive that. So
does this include small businesses too, or you just consider, is that number just for like major corporations? Because we're about the solopreneur here. What about the small business person, the small business people, the little bitty people, us? Does that also, is that statistic applying to us as well?
That statistic is for the small business entrepreneur.
That's beautiful. Now repeat that one more time, because I'm about to have a hallelujah. Now you said what percent after 5 years is deemed to fail? And then so after 5 years, repeat that again.
So my point is this. Self-care is important because there's a lot of pressure being an entrepreneur. Only 2 out of 10 survive the first 5 years. And out of that 2 that survive the first 5 years, only 2 out of 10 survive the second 5 years. So there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of ups and downs. So a person has to have a good self-care program, because you're fighting keeping a good product, you're taking care of your consumer, you're taking care of your employee. Who's going to take care of you? That self-care is where it starts. If we're in better condition, if you're in better condition, you can do a better job for your client and lead your team in a much better manner.
Walter, I think that is amazing. In celebration of Women's Month, we're going to do a beep beep, because you've been in business over 30 years. You're been in the financial industry over 30 years. How long have you had your company? 50?
50 in the financial services business.
Did you say 50? Did I hear you? Well, hold on. Let me make sure I don't have any salt water in my ear. Did you say 50?
Well, for being specific, 51.
Man, you look good. You don't even look like you. What you do? Start the business when you were 12 or something? What's up, Walter? I mean, you mean 50? Really? 50? We're not gonna talk about age here. You talk about self-care. Man, you are an example of self-care. I can't believe that you've been in the what 50. So let's go back a little bit, because I'm about to give my own self a pat on the back. So you said 2 out of 10 survived the first 5 years, 2 out of 10 the second 5 years. But what about us people that survived 2 decades? I've had my business as a self-employed person, female owned 100% for 26 years.
You want to chose you.
Did y'all get that? Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? And I've gone through my cycles. Honey, where I've had consultants. I mean, I've had contractors. I've had employees. I've been there and done all of that. Had 5 locations. But man, I'm telling you, to get through the COVID and to still be open, oh, I got it. My motto was a couture 101 now. I'm much happier. I am much happier that way. But let me just say, Walter, I'm going to reiterate, I love what you said about the self-care. And for you to sustain business as an entrepreneur financially, you have to have a good product. You also have to be able to serve your consumer. And you also have to be able to serve your employees or independent contractors for that matter. But then also, who's going to take care of you? You know, because we know that our incomes and our revenue is cyclical and fluid and dynamic. You know, you're up one quarter, you're down the next. You're up one quarter, you're down the next. You know, it's not an implosion every single month. That's just not the way that business works. So just really touch on this last piece before we get to the next one about the self-care. I think that is so essential.
It absolutely is. You cannot serve from an empty cup.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
when we look at the Western world, some of our major challenges are around, high blood pressure, which being an entrepreneur, that's, it's pressure. The buck stops with you. Diabetes, cardiac problems, obesity, which leads to all kinds of other problems. So we've got to take care of ourselves. But in addition to that, if we've got a good foundation, oftentimes it makes us more attuned mentally.
Yes,
and so
totally.
we're a better student, we're a better CEO.
Yeah.
We're not just living now and in the past, but we're able to put ourselves into the future. Where are we next quarter? Where are we in 2024? What is our 5-year vision? Those are self-care things that the entrepreneur has to be able to stop and do. And because there are so many urgencies, not priorities, but urgencies.
Yeah, urgencies. Yeah.
Jumping up, on the telephone, folks walking in, we have to take the self-care to turn our phone off from time to time, to disappear, to unplug, to do that personal strategizing. And we might want to do the right thing, but if we don't aggressively do the right thing and aggressively build our business, it won't come to us. Just because the wolf doesn't eat us, just because we don't eat the wolf doesn't mean it won't eat us. We've got to be assertive about our business plan and about growing.
I love what you just said. And that's having being able to position yourself to have a seat at the financial table. Oh my God, Walter, there's so many questions I want to ask you. And I know we have to wrap up the time here. Can you quickly share, Walter, one example of one of your clients, your women clients, a success story? Give us the brief version of how your company was able to help them then and where they are now.
So 24 years ago, we met this doctor, and she used to take her friends to Jamaica and rent a villa for a couple of weeks once a year, and $30,000 check that she'd write every year. And her cash flow didn't really support that, but she felt that's what she wanted to do to be happy. We talked her out of writing that $30,000 check for that Jamaican trip and to start diverting that money into a real estate investment program. She had her own practice and also worked in a county job with a great retirement plan. We helped her to acquire a couple of pieces of rental real estate. And she just got sick and tired one day of working. She says, I'm out of here. And because she had her rental real estate and her cash assets, she was able to walk away. Now she manages real estate and she's traveling now.
Wow. Wow. That is so great. So there was a pattern interrupt. And sometimes we have to intercept. And we might think we want to continue doing something, and we have to have a pattern interrupt. And that pattern interrupt, you helped her to divert her money. And look, now she has all the money she needs to travel. She could continue doing those things. And she came out positive on the other side.
Yes.
That is wonderful. What a wonderful story to share. So I
have one other story to tell you.
Okay. All right.
Here's a woman who we met during the foreclosure crisis. She was about to lose her house. She was 3 weeks away from the sheriff coming out and taking her house.
Wow.
A HUD-approved counselor referred her to us. We talked with the bank very aggressively. It's one of the articles that I wrote about in CNBC News, giving people a do-it-yourself pattern on how to do that. Stopped the bank from foreclosing, made them do what they were supposed to do. They set aside $250,000 of her debt that she did not have to pay so that she could afford new payments. Since that time, she's now buying property internationally.
Wow. Now, is she a self-employed person?
She's what?
Is she self-employed?
Yes,
I'm
she
just
is.
curious. Wow.
Yes,
That is
she is.
amazing. That's
Yes, she
amazing. Well, I think, ladies, that y'all need to pick up the phone and call Mr. Walter Brown Jr. and have a consultation with him. And so, what I would like to end the call with two things. One, can you share, Walter, where do we need to be as entrepreneur women when it comes to our mindset? Leave us with maybe three things or tips when it comes to shifting your mindset, your belief around money and not ever being broke.
You said three things?
Yes.
Okay. The first thing I would say is have a method of finding your place where you are calm, where you're centered, and where you have clarity. You have to have a reset, a personal reset button. You may have kids, you may have a significant other, you may have health issues, but there's got to be a place where you can hit that reset button. You know, using meditation, using your services, Kim, using the services of your doctor. If there are health issues, get them addressed, get that sorted out. That would be the first thing. Second thing would be a lifelong learner,
I love
right?
that. I love
So
that. I love
that
that.
means looking at what people who are 10 years ahead of you, what are they doing? How are they doing it? Find out what they're doing and how they're doing it. Get around those kinds of folks. And then the third thing would be a wolf. You know, it takes a wolf to catch a wolf. We're in an environment where, you know, sometimes it's bruised knuckles time. And sometimes,
Yes.
sometimes you got to know what to do and how to do it, and be aggressive. Those would be the three.
That's interesting because we always think we can't play a man's game, and women think sometimes with finances it's more masculine than feminine. But it's like you got to be a wolf in this day and age. You know, there are many a times people don't know I used to be in actually insurance years ago before I became an entrepreneur of 26 years. You know, and these stories that we would hear, and the most disheartening one is, you know, when death occurs and your spouse is no longer available, and all of a sudden you have an overnight paradigm shift because the breadwinner is no longer there, or you're not privy to where all the financial records are, or where the money is, or what's going on financially in a scenario of a household. Or let's take the scenario, this is very common, that after a certain season of time, now you're divorced. And so this reality of this lifestyle that you once were entitled or awarded or you experienced or that you enjoyed, no longer do you have that because you don't have the income, the dual income like you once did. And in the divorce settlement, it's a harsh reality. So my question that I want to leave you, what I want to ask you with Walter is, how can women position themselves so that when life happens, circumstances, situations, and events, and like what's about to come down in the maybe next month, this recession, how can women strategically align themselves so that they can financially win and it will never impact them? We have to be wolves.
I'll tell you a story very briefly. I have an associate who's a billionaire. I was at their house in Malibu on the beach. This was 7 years ago. They were a couple. They're no longer a couple. They're divorced. The wife had to get on her feet and take care of her own affairs. Now, the way she was able to do that was because she had been cultivating a good circle of friends, people who were CPAs, people who were attorneys, people who were real estate developers, that were her personal friends who she had conversations with. So part of it is plant the seeds now for the future. It's not that you want things to break up. It's not that you want someone to die, but you sold insurance. You know, insurance is for if something unfortunate happens. So we have that woman has to be a person of quality. She's got to be able to offer stuff to people. Why would somebody want to pick up that person's phone call? Why would somebody want to go out to lunch with that person? What is that person doing to build the bridges now? And then making sure they're building bridges with people who can teach them, who are people of integrity, who will not run out on her when the lights go out.
Excellent. Walter, how can people get in contact with you?
Contact me at wblendingsolutions.com, wblendingsolutions.com. There's a contact me website. My phone number is also there, 925-256-1144. And our team would be glad to set up a conversation, see what's going on.
I love it. And let's not forget your YouTube channel, where you give lots of financial advice on finances and on your services and what you offer. And what is your YouTube channel, Walter?
My YouTube channel is WB Lending Solutions. So YouTube, WB Lending Solutions. I also have an Instagram channel, a Facebook channel, a Twitter channel, a LinkedIn channel. And we've been having some conversations last week. We kind of saw what was coming in terms of some of the situations with Silicon Valley Bank and some of the other institutions that are having some challenges right now. This is an opportunity for women to invest. As Warren Buffett said, and Warren Buffett's a very rich guy, but he always drives an 8-year-old car. One of the richest in the world. So if he can drive an 8-year-old car,
what does that tell you?
Yeah, why do I have to have the new Rolls? Really? Why, if he can drive an 8-year-old car?
Yeah.
Anyway, he said, when people are scared, that's when I buy.
Yeah.
This is the time for money to be made.
Yes, I love it. So on that note, Walter, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And I could tell that we're going to have a part 2. I'm going to bring you on my brand new 12-month program that I'm having. It's called the Unstoppable Business to Women's program.
There's a lot we didn't cover. There's a lot to talk about.
It's just a lot of stuff we didn't cover. That's why I'm going to bring you up for a part 2. But I wanted to say thank you very much for your time. And also, if people want to meet you in person, they can come to your Walnut Creek office, right?
Say again?
If people want to meet you in person, they can come to you in your Walnut Creek office, correct?
Yeah.
If they want to meet you in person. So most of your appointments are virtually, but they could also be in person too.
Absolutely. It's better like that.
Yes. Well, Walter, thank you so much. Viewers, thank you. You all know who I am. Again, I'm Kim Evans, and it has been a plum pleasure. And I just want to just send this blessing out to you. May all you guys just be blessed. And maybe you were able to just hear just one tip that you could be motivated by what Walter was sharing, or that you can probably be motivated to pick up the phone and give him a call. So may this word, God, we just thank you so much for sharing this, with our I guess today. May it go as far as the east, as far as the west, as far as the north, as far as the south, because there is some woman, some business owner that actually needed to hear this. And I'm so excited to be able to get the word out. And may you all be blessed. And let's go out and enrich all of our businesses, right? And may we become pandemic free, right? And maybe become recession proof. Build your business like a wolf, as Walter was saying. Again, thank you very much, Walter, for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
All right.